Chapter 18. The Betrayal of the Sea Witch. The odd sisters sat in disbelief as they looked into their enchanted hand mirror. Their poor, dear little sister. How could this creature be their Circe? And why was the one of legends able to conjure her when they could not? I asked Florence to bring you here because I'm afraid Ursula is going to break her deal, Nanny said solemnly. What deal? Chimed the sisters as one. I don't think she plans to give Circe back, like she promised you. The sisters' heads cocked to the left in a quick jerk. They seemed to be looking at something very far away, in almost a trance-like state, until Lucinda finally responded. Give her back? What do you mean, give her back? I'm sorry. I assumed you knew. Knew what? What in Hades are we supposed to know? That Ursula took Circe. I thought that's why you were helping her. No, we called her for help. She said she'd help us find Circe when we destroyed Triton. I see. So you agreed to ruin Ariel and kill Triton for your own pleasure? Not for pleasure, for Circe. Ursula told us her tale and gathered our hate so that we could destroy Triton together. In return, she was to help us find our sister. Now our hate will rain down on her like 1,000 nightmares for betraying us. She will live in baleful agony beyond the end of her days for this. Lucinda rose to her feet. Her sisters remained sitting, utterly astounded that Ursula had used them so shamelessly. Clearly, Ursula hadn't been lying about her brother. They had seen the proof of Triton's treachery in the divination fires. Triton truly deserves to die. There was no question. So why this betrayal? Lucinda screamed. There was no need to deceive us. I don't understand. Perhaps Ursula thought we would refuse her. We would have helped no matter what. No matter. And what if we had refused? Was she going to threaten us with the life of our sister? Blackmail. Lucinda was raging with anger, clutching the hand mirror. Where is Ursula now? Show me the sea witch. Vanessa appeared in the mirror. She was on the wedding ship, looking like a maniacal bride. Her pallor was almost ghastly. It was as if her anger was starting to distort her lovely guise, and the sea witch was now melding with Vanessa. Ariel was lying on the deck of the ship, and Eric was looking on in horror as Vanessa bellowed, You're too late! You're too late! Lightning burst from her fingertips, penetrating the sky like the worst of storms, before her true form exploded from her human shell, causing everyone on the ship to scream in horror as she crawled along the deck like a slithering thing of nightmares toward Eric and the Little Mermaid. She has Ariel, screamed Ruby. We're too late! Lucinda clutched the mirror and said, No, we're not. She cast her hand on the chamber door, sealing it with her magic so none of the servants would be able to get in. She moved to the center of the room and stood beneath the glass dome. The sky exploded with light as fireworks burst above their heads, raining down upon the dome. Ships have been gathering near Morningstar Castle all evening for the winter solstice, there to pay tribute to the lighthouse of the gods, with offerings of fire and light. Lucinda recited a new incantation. Kill the witch and make her bleed. Release our sister, my words you'll heed. Ursula's brother appeared in the mirror, his face full of wrath. Let her go, he yelled at Ursula, who had Ariel in her grasp. Ursula laughed. Not a chance, Triton. She's mine now. We made a deal. Ursula showed Triton the contract Ariel had signed and wondered what was going through his mind. Was he frightened for his daughter's life? Perhaps I should make him watch while I kill his precious child, make him suffer the pain and fear my father felt before his death, the death he said my father deserved. Daddy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't know, cried Ariel. Triton's anger was growing with each breath, swelling until he released his rage at Ursula, slamming her into a rock with the power of his Triton, trying in vain to break the contract. You see? The contract is legal, binding, and completely unbreakable, even for you." Then she smiled at him in that way she knew he hated, the smile that meant she couldn't wait to see him choke on her hate. "Of course, I was always a girl with an eye for a bargain. The daughter of the great Sea King is a very precious commodity. And I dare say the little sister of the dreaded three is even more so," she thought. The odd sisters' anger filled the room like a choking smoke. As much as they hated Triton, they hated Ursula more. How dare she take our little sister? How dare she use her? "Ursula's deceived us, sisters. She has no intention of letting Circe go." Ruby's and Martha's screams were heard in the many kingdoms, but Lucinda remained eerily quiet. "Quiet, my darlings. We don't want Ursula to know we've learned her secret. She intends to use our Circe against us as a tool for bargaining, to ensure our help in her future plans. The Dark Fairy was right. We have to stop her." The witches again began their chant, which grew louder and more violent as their bodies convulsed and contorted with every word. "Slice the witch and make her bleed. Kill the witch, my words you'll heed." And they watched Ursula and Triton in their magic mirror. "But I might be willing to make an exchange for someone even better," Ursula said. Triton knew what she wanted. It had never been Ariel. It was him, his power, his soul. This was her vengeance, and part of him felt he deserved it. He had chased his daughter away from his hatred of humans and brought madness upon his sister with his betrayal of her. "Yes, this is what I deserve," he thought. He would take his daughter's place. Ursula's words rang in his ears as he signed the contract. "If I am this foul creature you describe, it's by your design." Ursula had been right when she said that. He had created this monster, and there was nothing he could do to amend it. His regret would mean nothing to her. His words would be like ashes. "At least, I will be able to save Ariel. Perhaps she will rule with more compassion than I ever had." The sisters watched and wished they could destroy the king as they had intended. It wasn't enough that he finally laminated what he had done to his sister. They wanted him to die. It took all their strength to rein in their hate of Triton and focus it on Ursula. So long had they gathered it, cultivated it, and given it life. It took all their might not to succumb to it and kill the tyrant king. Oh, how they wished Ursula was the friend they had thought she was. They would have loved to take down her brother and put her on the throne. They would have done anything to help their friend. Why the betrayal? It was such a disappointment, seeing Ursula fail in the face of such promise. They had thought she was different. She wanted nothing more than revenge and power, because she'd spent her life feeling powerless. She'd become the thing her brother accused her of. She had become loathsome. Fear gripped the witches' hearts when they saw that Ursula had seized Triton's crown in Triton. This is why the Dark Fairy sent her warning. She knows Ursula's heart better than we do. And the sisters watched in terror as Ursula grew to prodigious heights. The madness within her also seemed to grow with an unnerving velocity. Her laugh dominated the many kingdoms as she commanded the sea, bringing forth ships that had long before sunk to the depths. She brought the dead ships to life with the treacherous waves, raving maniacally, and claiming the sea as her own. If there was anything left of the witch the sisters had called friend, they couldn't detect it. Ursula was completely at the mercy of this overwhelming power, and it had driven her quite mad. The Dark Fairy was right. Ursula created a maelstrom of twisting, splintered ships and used them to attack Ariel and Eric. She was going to kill Ariel. It seemed her plans to be Eric's bride had been tossed aside like an unwanted plaything, forgotten now with the madness that was swelling inside her. She's grown mad with power, perhaps mad with grief. with the loss of everything she once loved. Lucinda said the words again, this time resolving to destroy the thing she and her sisters had helped create with their hatred. They were no better than Triton, Lucinda thought, because they had played part in Ursula's undoing as well. It broke Lucinda's heart and brought her no joy in spite of the betrayal. Kill the witch and make her bleed. Release our sister. My words you'll heed. Martha! Martha and Ruby were in a panic. We can't kill Ursula. There has to be a way to save her, screamed Ruby. If we take the crown and Triton, she'll come back to herself. Yes, this is our fault. Circe was right to be angry with us. We're always meddling, and our meddling caused this. It will cost Ursula her life. Lucinda cast a terrifying gaze at her sisters. Silence! This is Ursula's doing, not ours. She would have gotten her hands on the necklace regardless, and she took our sister as insurance that we would help her. She is not the witch we once knew. She's been overwhelmed by power and greed just like the wicked queen, and we shall destroy her for her duplicity. The fireworks burst forth from the ships in Morningstar Harbor and exploded overhead, raining on the dome above the witches as Lucinda went on. This is the only way to free our sister, and ensure she will not hate us until the end of our days. Circe would never forgive us for unleashing this power. Lucinda looked to the sky through the glass dome at the storm of sparks cascading down as the sea raged with a violent purple light. We have no choice, my sisters. We have to destroy her. Now, say the words with me. Lucinda, Ruby, Martha, and the One of Legends gathered their power and sent it out to the many kingdoms so witches far and wide would hear their call. This was not a secret, dark sort of magic. It was a desperate gathering of forces to take down the witch who now had the power to destroy them all. You took our sister and our hate. To die at our hands is now your fate. The witches screeched, and taking the mirror once again, they said, now show us the witch. Ursula's image appeared in the enchanted mirror. She's trying to kill Ariel. She's broken our deal. Kill the witch now. Make her suffering real. All the witches were in a frenzy, stomping their boots and screaming so loudly the glass dome was again threatening to break. The servants were pounding on the door, trying to get in to see what was the matter, frightened of the loud screams coming from inside the room and the terrible explosions coming from the sea. Show us the witch! The witches watched as Prince Eric climbed onto one of the resurrected ships. Its bow was splintered and jagged, and the witches knew Ursula's death was almost upon them. Impale the witch and make her bleed. Give Eric the power, our words you'll heed. And to their relief, Ursula was violently impaled by the ship's splintered bow in an explosion of electricity and billowing purple smoke, casting her remains deep into the sea. The sisters collapsed as they watched the voluminous smoke rising from the sea, knowing they had killed the witch they had once called their friend.